No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve post-game show, presented by Play Now, the official sports betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets, starts now.
Good afternoon, Winnipeg. Good afternoon, Manitoba. For all those joining us live this afternoon on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good afternoon, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Along with Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mandel, here to discuss a Buffalo Sabres 5-3 victory over the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets fail in their opportunity to clinch a playoff spot on home ice. They can still do so today, depending on the results of the Predators and the St. Louis Blues, but certainly an opportunity staring the Winnipeg Jets right in the face, and the Jets were not up to match it and take advantage of a weakened opponent. James Reimer, the story of today's game for the Buffalo Sabres, as he absolutely backstops the Sabres to today's 5-3 victory. Ezzy, good afternoon. Nice to see you.
Absolutely. Good to see you too, Drew. Good afternoon. You just said it. I mean, James Reimer really was the story of this afternoon's game. Right up until the end of this game, he's making big saves, right? Mm-hmm. And obviously on the power play, he makes a huge save on Mark Scheifele. And then he follows that up with a big save on Gabe Vilardi. And then the Sabres go up the ice and Alex Tuch scores a shorthanded goal and it's 4-2. And yes, the Jets did make it a one-goal game. But that 4-2 goal, as I like to call it, that's the backbreaker goal, the Ginsburg backbreaker, if you will. And look, I mean, this game was analytically as one-sided as it comes. Like whether it's shot attempts or high danger chances or slot shots, it was heavily tilted in the Jets' favor. And Reimer was making some big saves. And, you know, it's one of those games where sometimes you have to just say, you know, we played better, we left it all on the ice, and we got goalied. And I think that's what happened tonight. And, you know, as far as the special teams went, right, the first two Sabres power plays, the Jets didn't allow a shot on net. So the penalty kill was looking sharp. Nino Niederreiter obviously scores a power play goal, breaking his 15-game goalless drought on the power play. So you score the power play goal. You obviously allowed a power play goal on the third opportunity. But so the special teams, I thought, were also very solid, even with the Sabres goal withstanding. But it's just one of those games where you know, the puck doesn't bounce your way, right? Nikolai Ehlers hit a post prior to scoring his goal that made it 4-3, right, Drew? So, I mean, I like the Nemesnikov, Perfetti, Ehlers line. Had no problem with the top line tonight. I thought, you know, Scheifele obviously taking some uncharacteristic penalties. You don't like that. But look, the Sabres, give them full marks here for coming in, and this was thievery. I mean, they stole 2 points. Let's not make no mistake about it here.
They did, and I agree with you that the Jets were the better of the two teams on the ice. So I don't dispute that at all, and that James Reimer was the reason that the Buffalo Sabres won this game. Not a great performance by Eric Comrie either. I mean, scoring chances 25-5 in the Winnipeg Jets' favor at 5-on-5. High danger chances 10-0. In the Jets' favor at 5-on-5.
I noticed that, Drew. I don't understand how there were no high danger scoring chances. But hey, when you score 5 goals and then you have no high danger chances for an even strength, I mean, is that not the definition of getting goalied?
Well, you know, here's my problem with that, though. I thought, yes, the Jets got goalied in that James Reimer played a hell of a good game. But at the same time, in the third period of the game, where it's a 2-1 game after 40 minutes. And Buffalo's got to be feeling great about themselves because there's no way they deserve to be down to be up 2-1 after 40 minutes. I thought the Jets played the third period with an uncharacteristic amount of arrogance in their game. I thought the Jets played that third period, a lot of that third period, especially the first 5, 6, 7 minutes of that third period, with a presumption that they were just going to come back and win the game, that there was no way they could possibly lose to the Buffalo Sabres. And that's not something that you've seen a lot from the Winnipeg Jets. You've seen them come back against some lesser teams this year, but at no point did I think that there was, arrogance in their game. Today, I thought there was a little bit of that to start the third period.
And I think that's a fair point. I really do.
Especially after, look, the second period, Buffalo gets that late goal to make it 2-1. After the Jets have been absolutely dominant. I mean, the shots on goal in the second period were 13-6 for the Jets. And I think Buffalo got, of their 6 shots, I think they got 3 of them late in that period. I wanted to see the Jets bring more of the same ferocity that they brought in the second period to the third period, and they didn't. And that, to me, not concerning, because ultimately I think this game is going to be forgotten pretty quickly. But that, to me, is something that I bet you Scott Arniel, when he sits down with his coaching colleagues and when the team gathers together to talk about this game and get ready for the game on Tuesday against the Washington Capitals, I think that's going to be something that is maybe brought up, that they played a little too loose in that third period. And as a result, Buffalo, which had no business being in the game or being around the game, ended up winning the game. I thought the Jets maybe got away from what they do so well at different parts, particularly early in that third period.
I think you could say to a certain extent they played down to their competition, right? And to your point, Drew, being down 2-1, and knowing that, James Reimer's playing amazing, but knowing that, you're right in the hockey game and you've had all of these high danger chances, all these inner slot shots, you're thinking, if you're the Jets, obviously you have no doubt that you're able to still pull out the 2 points in this game. And I agree with you. I didn't think the third period it was probably their weakest period. This ended up being a trap game, whether you like it or not. And I hate the term trap game, but I mean, the Sabres come in having lost to the Wild, having played last night, having nothing else to play for aside from playing the role of spoiler. And they were playing carefree hockey, right? Like I kept thinking, and I'm not surprised by this at all. And if you have to cut me off for Scotty Arniel,
keep going. You keep talking. I'll jump in with Scott Arniel going to join us momentarily here. Post-game media availability is coming your way here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. So we'll hear from the Winnipeg Jets head coach coming up momentarily. But keep going with your thought, Ezzy.
Well, I mean, I think that there was a little bit of arrogance in the sense that the Jets were a little bit too reliant on some of these chances off of the rush. And by the way, the Sabres, I mean, defensively, what a mess. I mean, the amount of opportunities defensemen had, like Colin Miller in the first period alone had 2 glorious scoring chances just because there was so much wide open ice there. I just thought they were collapsing a lot too much down low. But, this is a game that, you have to come out with a little bit more urgency. I think that's what you're saying. And there was a little bit of a sense of, we've got a full period here. We're going to score a couple goals. This is the Sabres after all. They played the second game of a back-to-back. But look, you can say whatever you want about James Reimer. And I kept thinking, let's give this guy a lot of credit for the career he's had. Over 500 games, I think 515 games in the NHL. He's 37, 38 years old, obviously towards the end of his career. But this guy's battling, right? We talked about it. The Sabres have been a laughing stock of the league. Let's be honest here. And James Reimer is battling hard, making crazy saves, right? He was tripped by Nemestikov, and then he made that glove save when he was down on the ice. He was making some incredibly acrobatic saves, so give him a lot of credit. But again, it's up to the Jets to make sure that they don't let what happened on the fourth goal. And again, don't want to pick on Gabe Vilardi here, but I mean, he just loses Alex Tuck. That goal just can't happen there. You
can't let a Buffalo Sabres shorthanded opportunity. Scott Arniel's at the podium.
Ended up 71-32. So do you feel like your team generated enough to win a hockey game today?
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
We tripled them on scoring chances. So their goaltender was great, played great.
And is it a matter of maybe the Sabres were just pretty opportunistic with the few chances they had?
Power play, shorthanded, face-off, and then a line rush. So we made some mistakes in some of those situations. I mean, you watch those games that they happen. You can get all those chances that we had, and all of a sudden they just go back out the other way and it's in the net. So just we haven't had one of those in a while where we dominate like that and not come out on the right end of it. But our goaltender played really, really well.
First period, Gabe takes that shot to the face. I imagine he needed some repairs and was gone a bit. And then Nino, was he called into protocol after that hit?
Yeah, he had to go in there. Yeah.
Certainly speaks to the toughness, I guess, of both players that they return, and for Nino, a big goal for him.
Yeah, Gabe just had a cut, and so he had to get that fixed. And then, Nino once he was cleared, we were good to go.
And you made the one change on the blue line. Logan ended up having 2 assists today. Did you like what you saw from him after a bit of a layoff?
Yeah. I mean, it was, I don't want these guys to sit too long. And, I like him in. I thought he did a lot of good things.
Mark Scheifele, it's been now 8 games for him without a goal. Him and that line as a whole, is the key kind of getting back to that attack mindset, or just poor puck luck for Mark?
I think you might want to check how many chances they've had. They've had a lot of chances, and that stretches it. Players go through, lines go through, where it just doesn't seem to go in the net. But their amount of opportunities they've gotten in the last few games is, especially tonight, there was some real good looks. And I think those guys, the idea is to keep getting inside, keep shooting the puck, and keep making those plays. And Scheif had a couple that looked like almost empty netters, and got a stick and got a blade and got whatever. But those turn over the course of the season. Those go both ways.
One of the in-game adjustments we sometimes see is you'll put Nikolai with Lowry and Appleton. What do you like about that kind of switch up? I know you like how his line's been playing, but in those situations,
tonight did it tonight through Nino just because I was trying to get one guy from every line. I wanted Nino to stand on top of my goaltender with Fetz and Vladdy, and then obviously Fly with somebody from Lowry's line was going to get there. It was more about trying to keep Reimer in the net, try to keep him in position where he couldn't see pucks, and we got to see a few more. That if I have anyone complain about it, all those chances, probably a little bit more traffic on our part.
Just on their first goal, Dylan DeMello takes quite a pick off of that face-off play. What can a defenseman do in that situation? What's the line?
Yeah, I mean, it is. You're right. It's a heavy pick, and sometimes you hope they're maybe called, but at the end of the day, it happens every face-off, and there's somebody's getting picked, and it's just trying to battle, work your way inside as quick as possible. I mean, it was a play by them. They got away with it, and at the end of the day, you'd like to have layers, and maybe we usually have somebody supporting in the slot, but they got the open ice and he got that shot off pretty quick.
Did it go off his stick at all as well too?
No, I think it went straight in.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks.
Short and sweet. Winnipeg Jets head coach Scott Arniel, not in a talkative mood. I'm not sure the media were in much of a talkative questioning phase as well. That was a quick media appearance by the Winnipeg Jets head coach. It probably tells you all you need to know about tonight's contest between the Jets and the Buffalo Sabres. Certainly, I would say a game of 82, Ezzy, and reflective of the lack of urgency by everybody involved in this afternoon's contest.
Yeah, I mean, this was a game where the Jets should have won the game just based on the fact that the Sabres are way out of a playoff spot. The Jets are, for the time being, are the second team in the NHL, top team in the West. And they definitely showed it at times. I mean, Jacob Stoller asked the question about Mark Scheifele. I thought Scheifele was good tonight. I mean,
he had the 2 penalties. I thought he was a little loose with his stick at times, and
but that's save that James Reimer made on him, right? If Scheifele scores there,
and Owen Power makes that great save on him as well.
Yes, and it looked like Reimer originally made that save. So right, like if Scheifele, no, look, I mean, I'll give you this much. We already mentioned the penalties. I don't like those penalties. I thought those were uncharacteristic, undisciplined penalties, unforced, right? So I mean, we can agree that wasn't Scheifele's best game, but he's getting chances, right? I just checked; he had 4 shots on net tonight.
Yeah,
and Kyle Connor was doing Kyle Connor things. He was doing exactly what you wanted from him out there. And Gabe Vilardi, that was a little bit of a storyline there, right? Like both Niederreiter and Vilardi left, so that the Jets had to scramble their lines a little bit. They obviously came back for the second period, but put it this way, Drew, I don't think that I know some people are upset in the chat. And look, Jets fans, especially with the season this team is having, they want to win. The Jet fans want the team to win every single game. The team wants to win every single game. Sometimes you have to just say, that this was a game where you didn't get the breaks. Reimer was outstanding. He made some 10 out of 10 saves, some A+ saves. But I really wouldn't get, look, I don't think that this means that the Jets are going to go on some type of losing streak here. I don't think that there's these big warning signs. Like if the Jets struggled and weren't generating any offense and they laid an egg, that would be a completely different story. Like you said, Drew, and Scott Arniel even mentioned it in his post-game presser. This is a game where maybe you could have gone a little harder to the net. You could have benefited from maybe a greasy goal. But at the end of the day, it was a 1-goal game in the third period, right? Like the Jets were right in this game. And if anything, should have been up a goal as opposed to down a goal. So look, did Eric Comrie have his best game of the season? No, he didn't have a great game. I don't think he was the reason the Jets lost, but James Reimer outplayed him. And sometimes, it basically comes down to that.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I mean, that's all for you, right? I don't expect that this game is going to result in anything but one disappointing loss in the season. There weren't enough warning signs to make me concerned that this is all of a sudden going to result in anything, beyond just one disappointing game, one disappointing result.
And by the way, we're not in a panic. Dom Zappia's I've got the comment up from Dom. We're not in a panic. Nobody's panicking. Well, I just said, I think we've got some people in the chat that are overreacting. Like Drywall Man is talking. I got the comment up here from Drywall Man. I don't think that the Jets have played poorly the last 4 games. Like I even thought in the game against Vancouver, they weren't that bad, but certainly
defensively loose again. That's what I would say. Defensively loose. I mean, the last time they played a peak game, the game against Dallas was a peak performance on the season. And they haven't played at that standard since then, which again, I think is the human nature, natural aspect of everything, that they would have a bit of a step down. They know that they're more than likely going to win the division and win it relatively handily. So it sort of makes sense that after you have the high of the win against Dallas, that the results have been a little bit dwindling since then. But you still want to see when things get back to where they need to be. I'll let you talk for a second there, as I see the kiddos are making an appearance on the show this afternoon. That's always great to see the youngins joining us. The youngins here on the show and the youngins in the audience. We like them in both places.
Yeah, I've got a babysitter here. Sorry, Drew. I thought I was muted there. I don't know if
That's okay. You're all good. Don't worry about it. We know with parental responsibilities still are first and foremost. Why don't we get into the goal-by-goal recap? There's a bunch of goals to get into on this afternoon's edition of the Illegal Curve post-game show.
The Play Now game recap.
As you know, it is brought to you by our friends at Play Now. Learn to bet with Play Now, the official betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets. Sign up and get up to $250 in bonus bets. Conditions apply, 18 plus. Enjoy responsibly. Big thanks to our friends at Play Now for their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show. Buffalo Sabres, they opened the scoring at the 9:15 mark of the first period. We heard Scott Arniel talking about it. It's a set play run off of the one face-off by the Sabres. JJ Peterka, a guy who's now got 22 goals on the season, assist to Jacob Bernard-Docker, who they just got from the Ottawa Senators, and Ryan McLeod, who they got in the offseason from the Edmonton Oilers. It's a real nice set play off of the one face-off. The pick play on Dylan DeMello as well is a big factor here. But Buffalo, exactly what they needed to come off the poor performance in Minnesota. So what do you want more than anything? You want to get the opening goal. Peterka walks out from the sideboards, and we know he can snipe, and he snipes past Eric Comrie to give the Sabres a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, we were just talking about JJ Peterka with Marty Baron yesterday. He's having a career year. He's a good player. We were also talking about him because he appeared on Frank Saravelli's trade bait board. So we were talking about that. If he became available, maybe he'd be an option for the Jets. But you're absolutely right. Off a face-off, set play, and JJ Peterka's a sniper, and he goes right to left here and just comes up the middle of the ice. And obviously, it's top of the circle. But that's a tough save for Eric Comrie to make, right? Like, could he make the save? Of course he could make the save, but I think it's a nice shot.
that's a goal.
It's a nice shot.
A goal scorer is in a goal scorer's position right there on that sequence of events. So you see the Peterka is right at the hash marks. He's in a good shooting position. As Kevin Sawyer said on the broadcast, his skate blades are pointing right at Eric Comrie, so he's in a good position. And most NHL shooters, goal scorers who are in that position, that's a golden opportunity for them. I don't know how that doesn't count as a high danger chance. To me, that's a high danger chance per natural stat trick, but I'm not sure how they come up with their stat keeping in any event.
I think that's a fair point, and I also think it's a fair point to say that could have easily been interference on Ryan McLeod.
No question.
Right? I mean, like Kevin Sawyer made the joke on the broadcast, or pardon me, I think it was actually Frankie Corrado that made the joke during the intermission that was kind of like a 1-minute penalty. But like, to me, that's a pick. That's interference, right? Sure. Like that slows Dylan DeMello down because Peterka is DeMello's responsibility, right? And so that little pick in there just gives Peterka just a little bit more time and space so that DeMello is just a step behind him to get a stick on the shot or block the shot or whatever, right? So I mean, that the Jets, I think, aren't going to hold a grudge here, but I mean, that's one of those goals where you kind of say like, okay, that was a pretty obvious pick, but it wasn't called. So nice goal by Peterka, but I can see why the Jets were annoyed with that goal.
Yeah, no argument from me whatsoever. That's how the first period came to an end, with the Sabres leading 1-0. And then the Jets tie it up early in the second period. 2:05 mark, a power play goal. The power play had been struggling, so that's an important one. Nino Niederreiter getting the goal. Well, we know Nino Niederreiter had been struggling. We were talking about that yesterday on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. It's not necessarily the prettiest. We've seen nicer power play goals this year, but it's beautiful nonetheless. A bit of a bank shot by Nino Niederreiter right at the side of James Reimer, deflects it in off of a couple of Sabres players. I think it goes off of Reimer. I think it goes off of Beck Malenston as well, who's also on the penalty kill there. Nonetheless, it's a great one from Niederreiter's perspective, and it ties it up at 1. Again, we've seen the Jets make this play where it's on the half wall, it goes down low, and then the player walks out from the side of the net, and it gets a good couple bounces for the Jets, and they tie it up at 1 here, as
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's really not anything too sexy about this goal. I mean, this is a pretty hardworking goal that goes off of a skate. I forget if it was Owen Power or if it was Malenston in front of the net.
They're both right there.
But it was clear, like you could see. I remember watching it live there. Nemesnikov points to Nemesnikov, or points at the referee.
Points to Niederreiter.
Pardon me, meant to say, yeah, right. Sorry about that. Vice versa.
Like me, I get all the credit. It's my goal. I get the credit.
Exactly. No, Nemesnikov wanted the refs, or he wanted Niederreiter to know that it was his goal because look, say whatever you want. I mean, these guys know when there's a guy going through a goal scoring stump like that, other players feel it, especially their line mates, right? Like if you asked Adam Lowry or if you asked Mason Appleton, who's had his own struggles, I mean, they're pumped up that Niederreiter got that goal, but it's just it's what Niederreiter does best, right? Like Niederreiter's a big man. He's 6'3", 200 plus pounds. That's what he does when he gets that puck in that position, similar to Velarde, just take it to the net and good things happen, right? So it's like it's a fluky goal, but it's because Niederreiter drives to the net and he creates his own luck, if you will.
Yeah, no question about it. So it's tied up at 1 goal apiece. This is early in the second period. Then the rest of the second period, the next 15 minutes is all Winnipeg Jets. It's as one-sided a period as you can get. And if it wasn't for the exceptional play of James Reimer, the Jets probably have a 2-goal lead, maybe a 3-goal lead. He just made save after save after save. The ice was completely tilted. And how many games have we watched over the years? Not just Jets games, but games in general taking place in the NHL where a goalie stands on his head, it makes save after save after save, and then in this instance, Buffalo transitions up the ice, and Rasmus Dahlin, with 1 minute and 14 seconds to go in the period, beats Eric Comrie with a goal that I think Comrie probably wants to have back. It's a clean zone entry by the Sabres, so credit to them. And Dahlin has got a good shot. To me, here on this goal, Comrie's a little bit too deep in his net. He's not out high enough, at the tip of the blue paint to challenge. And Dahlin is a hell of a defenseman. We know that he's a cornerstone, that he's a building block, and he's only blossoming further. And it's a shame that he has to ply his trade with such a horrible organization in Buffalo. But he lets the shot go. It's not, a bullet, but it's effective enough. And Comrie, to me, is just a little bit too deep in his net and not making himself big enough to make this save. Dahlin, his 13th assist to Bernard Docker and Ryan McLeod. Same two guys who assisted on the Peterka goal, assist on the Dahlin goal to give the Sabres a 2-1 lead late in the second period.
Yeah, Jacob Bernard Docker having himself a career game. I'm not sure if that's his first multi-point game of his career, but he's definitely not known for his offense.
He probably had a couple multi-point games 2 hours south of us when he played for UND, right?
Yes, no, that's true. He was a good player for UND. Didn't quite work out for him in Ottawa. That's obviously why he was traded. But you nailed it, Drew. I mean, this is the one goal that obviously, for me at least, sticks out. I see some people in the chat that didn't think Comrie played the Alex Tuck goal well, but I mean, this goal to me is like it's from far out. Yeah. Obviously, there's a little bit of traffic in front of him, but I don't think enough traffic that he didn't see it. Yeah. And even though, as you say, Rasmus Dahlin's got an absolute bullet, like one of the harder shots in the league, and this is not one of his hardest shots, but it's just one where Comrie's got to stop that. Especially, you mentioned, I have my notes here, and I have the Adam Lowry chance where the puck was on net. He lifted it over the net. Yeah. I've got the Josh Morrissey scoring chance where he comes in and Scheifele fed him. He had a glorious scoring chance right before that. So, I mean, the Jets had, 3 or 4 high danger chances in that period?
Tons.
At least.
Mason Appleton had that strong net drive where I think he got a step on one of the state. Look, it was chances galore, litany of chances for the Winnipeg Jets. And you just felt that, again, we've seen it happen so many times. Buffalo all of a sudden gets one chance and they're able to capitalize on it.
Yeah. So I'm looking here and the scoring chances were 10-3 for the Jets, right? The high danger chances were 3-0. Probably more than that. But again, like sometimes these aren't completely accurate. They're mainly accurate, but I mean, 3 seems a little bit low as we just easily railed off 3 there. Right. So, I mean, this goal, there's not much more that I can add aside from, this is a goal that Comrie would like to have back. And, it was, you're watching it. And at the time, like, what were the shots? Something like 23-5 or something. Like, it was just, it was ridiculous. Like, you're watching this game, you're thinking, how the heck are the Sabres winning this game right now? Well, they were just opportunistic, right? And they capitalized on their chances. But yeah, that's not a pretty goal on Comrie there.
Not a pretty goal. I would agree with that. 2-1 after 40 minutes at that point in time. Then the third period starts, and it's a wild and woolly third period. It is if there's 8 goals in the game, and you've only talked about 3 of them so far. There's a lot of goal scoring in this third period. The Sabres start they get the insurance marker at the 7:13 mark of the third period. We talked about this to start the post-game show, this edition of the Illegal Curve post-game show presented by Play Now. We talked about bad start to the third period for the Winnipeg Jets, just lifeless. And Buffalo, as you would expect, they got a lot of life out of the James Reimer performance, and they got a lot of life out of the Rasmus Dahlin goal. So they come out as the better of the two teams early in the third period. Mark Scheifele takes a what I'll describe as a lazy tripping penalty, just a very loose stick, brings down one of the Sabres players, and Tyson Kozak, the pride of Souris, Manitoba, puts the Winnipeg Jets in a lot of Souris, which is a Yiddish word for trouble, because he gets his second goal. Thank you. He gets his second goal of the season. It's on the power play. Again, it's off of a face-off win. The Sabres win the draw. The puck goes back to the point. Samuelson with the point shot. It pinballs off of a couple different guys. Lands right on the stick of Tyson Kozak. No chance, I would say, for Eric Comrie on this one, but good for the pride of Souris, Manitoba to get on the board. You saw his family in attendance. They were celebrating. You saw Kozak himself. He was celebrating. And the Sabres all of a sudden have a 3-1 lead, Ezzy.
Yeah, and what ends up happening on this goal is, and it's a power play, so obviously there's an extra man, but there's 2 guys in front of the net whacking away, right? And I don't think you're faulting Logan Stanley here. I mean, you could say, okay, well, Logan Stanley should get on this rebound and everything like that.
Fronting. But I mean, with all defensemen in the league now front a guy. So once the puck gets past them, it's a relatively easy tap in. That's how defensemen are taught to play in front of their own net now.
Well, but also there's two guys in front, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you've got Kozak, the former Southwest AAA Cougar, and then you've got, I had to look that up.
I was going to say,
make sure I got that right on Elite Prospects. But then you've got Beck Malinston, who's in front of the net too, right? So, like, again, we could sit here and nitpick and say that the Jets maybe were a little bit they weren't deep enough in terms of taking care of the net there. But I mean, the Sabres were aggressive and they went to the net and pounced on a rebound, right? So, again, these are not beautiful goals we're talking about here. These are hardworking rebound goals. But, I don't think, I'm not faulting Comrie here. It's just like, that's what it is to me. It's like there's Matthias Samuelsson puts the puck on net. There's two Sabres there, and there's only Stanley and Comrie, and he backs in a rebound. So I mean, you can't really overanalyze that one too much.
Not too much, exactly right. So 3-1 at that point in time, and the Jets are in a boatload of trouble. But it takes them all of 28 seconds to get back within one goal. Colin Miller gets his third of the season. He had a litany of scoring chances in the course of today's game, a sentence that we don't often say. But he walks in, he takes the pass from Mark Scheifele. It's just an atrocious stick check by Tage Thompson. Like, watch Tage Thompson and his effort on this play for the Buffalo Sabres. It's embarrassing. And Stanley walks right past him. He walks right in, and he goes absolute roof daddy on James Reimer. A beautiful shot, nice setup by Scheifele. Logan Stanley with the secondary assist as well. And the Jets, just as quickly as they were down by 2, are back within 1. This goal coming at the 7:41 mark. And it could have been this one. It could be the Ehlers one, but I'm going to give it to this one because he doesn't score all that often. It's our Seagram shot of the game.
The Seagram shot of the game.
Big thanks to Seagrams for their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game.
That's a little controversial. I mean, Nikolai Ehlers, that blast in the third period doesn't get the Seagram shot of the game. Wow.
You know what? Again, they're both great shots.
Miller's shot was amazing.
Miller goes right up top in tight. I thought, and again, how often do we get to give Colin Miller the Seagram shot of the game? I don't know that if anybody's been keeping track of the Seagram shot of the game stats, if you could send those to us, that would be great. Or if somebody wants to do a research project, you can let us know so we can keep a running tally of the Seagram shot of the game winners here on the post game show. But for today, I'm going to give it to Colin Miller. I'm going to make the unilateral decision.
And it was a beautiful pass by Mark Scheifele in zone to Miller, who was obviously streaking into the Sabre zone, and it's a beautiful shot. And you're right. I mean, the Sabres back checking and just defensive, just the way they played this was a little bit loose. Like, Tage Thompson just lets him fly by. Like, Colin Miller just absolutely flies by him. There's nothing else to say about that. And I think that James Reimer was thinking that his positioning was fine, but Miller just put it up where grandma hides the cookies, as they say, right? Yeah. So, I mean, it's a fantastic shot by Miller, who we talked about.
I get praise from Caesar here in that Doug agrees with me. And Doug is a very serious arbiter of the Seagram shot of the game standings. So Doug says that he chose Colin Miller as well. So I feel vindicated with my choice of Colin Miller on this goal. So really, that again, I'm seeing some people beacon me that I'm not using the Ehlers goal. But if Doug says I'm onto something, then all hail King Doug.
Yeah, and shout out to Doug. He often comes to Boston Pizza Taylor when we do the live watch parties and live post-game shows. So shout out to Doug, good friend of IC. And I mean, you're not going to go wrong here. And Colin Miller is one of those guys that he's been a little bit in and out of the lineup, and things like that are going to keep him in the lineup, right? Like, obviously, when Neil Pionk comes back, there's going to be a decision to be made. Like, obviously that's a different discussion maybe for the Saturday show, really, right? Like, who do you want as your third pair right-handed defenseman? Do you want Luke Schenn? Do you want Colin Miller? It's not as easy of a decision, right? I think you might see a little bit of both of them down the stretch. I think you might see a little bit of both of them in the playoffs, to be honest with you. Both of these guys are both serviceable guys on your third pair. And obviously, Luke Schenn is a guy that I think at this point in his career is better suited. But our friend Richie Pollock reminded me when the Toronto Maple Leafs acquired Luke Schenn, that was 3 years ago, he was actually playing top pair minutes with Morgan Riley.
Mm-hmm.
So again, like you can say whatever you want about Luke Schenn, and I'm a big fan of Luke Schenn's game. I think he's done pretty good on the second pair, to be honest with you. But I digress here. I mean, just back to this goal that made it 3-2, a huge goal, right? Because it comes 40 seconds after the Sabres made it 3-1.
28 seconds to be exact.
Yeah, I love that killer instinct from Colin Miller just to take that pass and go right in and roof daddy it past James Reimer. Unfortunately, we know what happened next, but I was just going to say I was really impressed with Miller's game today.
Yes. So what happened next is Alex Tuch coming in all alone, shorthanded, assist to Ryan McLeod and Connor Clifton. Clifton throwing his body around in the course of this game. He laid that big hit on Nino Niederreiter in the first period that sent him
Clifton's
to the room.
Clifton's not a tall guy. Like Clifton's I want to say 5'10", 5'11". I'd have to check it. But Nino Niederreiter 6'3". So good on Clifton. I mean, that's a size mismatch there. And by the way, I was going to say, is that not 4 games in a row now? There's been a concussion spotter. There's been a lot. There's been a lot of concussion spotting happening. Eric Comrie in the Seattle game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried to remember the other one. Was there anyone in the Edmonton game?
Now I'm forgetting, but there
doesn't matter. You're right. It's been a lot of concussion spotting in the last week or so, at the very least. Alex Tuch, it's shorthanded, his 27th. The Jets are pressing. They're trying to tie the game, but instead it goes the other way. Not a great read, I thought, by Velarde and by Morrissey on this one. They both sort of over pursue, and as a result, they let Alex Tuch get in behind the last Winnipeg Jets player, in that case, Velarde, and he makes no mistake. Alex Tuch, he's got 27 goals on the season. We talked about this yesterday on the IC Hockey Show. We said Buffalo can score. They have more 5-on-5 goals, in fact, than the Winnipeg Jets this season. They're just atrocious defensively. We know how loose they play defensively. This is an instance where you get Alex Tuch, a good goal scorer. You give him an opportunity against a backup goalie in Eric Comrie, and Tuch makes no mistake. I'm not sure that Comrie's out enough to challenge, but at the same time, Alex Tuch is in advantage Tuch in this situation, a guy who's going to get 30 plus goals this season against a backup goalie. I don't care who the backup goalie is. This is an advantage to the forward in this case.
Absolutely. A little nip and tuck, if you will, Drew, right? But anybody no, I've never watched
Nip Tuck.
I've never watched the show. No.
It was a weird show about a couple plastic surgeons. It probably hasn't been on for about a decade, maybe longer. I think it was on the USA Network. But it was I'm more of a house MD guy. Yeah, okay. House was also a bit of a weird show, but Nip Tuck, weird show.
Yeah,
anyways,
absolutely.
I digress.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'll agree with you. It was not one of the most heralded shows, but yeah, Clifton upends Scheifele, but it's a 2-on-2 situation. And like you say, Morrissey and Velarde are on that side with Ryan McLeod. By the way, Ryan McLeod, 4-point game for him. I'm not sure if that's his first 4-point game of his career, but the trade was Ryan McLeod, if you remember, for Matt Savoy, who was 15th overall, I think, first round pick. So obviously Savoy is he's currently playing in Bakersfield. He's not up with the Oilers, but that trade, Ryan McLeod, I mean, you can see why they traded for him. He's up to 42 points on the season. Yeah. So it's look, the reason why the Sabres are struggling is not because of Ryan McLeod. It's not because of JJ Peterka. It's because defensively they're a mess.
I go back to what we talked about yesterday when we were, again, they're a team that has no defensive structure. Boy, exactly. Does that not sound familiar to a team that was here in Winnipeg for a long while. Offensive, but they just can't get, and they can't get, the Jets at least have the goaltending they could rely on. Yeah. If you have no defensive structure and you don't have good enough goaltending on top of that, then you're really in trouble. I'm now getting messages from friends saying that Nip Tuck was an awesome show. So there you go. We've gone completely down the rabbit hole on this this evening edition of the.
Well, I should maybe take back my comments. I don't want to upset if we have any Nip Tuck fans in the chat right now. Yeah. Obviously, we have people that are Nip Tuck fans watching the show because they're texting you. I have not watched any of the episodes, so I shouldn't really criticize a show. I just, I just think it was funny to go along with the shtick of Nip Tuck and you saying that wasn't a very good show. But again, apologize to your friend on behalf of a legal curve for making fun of Nip Tuck. But going back to that goal, just a little bit too loose. Like you're in the second half of that power play, right? I think there was about 50 seconds left in the power play, something like that. And you're just, Gabe Vilardi's just got to be a little bit more aware, I think, of that situation. Like, he could have easily, he just, like, he either didn't see Alex Tuck, or he just thought that the puck, he thought Morrissey was going to close out Ryan McLeod. But like, it was just, I really didn't think, based on, again, we'd have to ask Vilardi, obviously, but to me, it looked like Vilardi didn't see Tuck.
Yeah, he may have disappeared behind him. Both of them, you can see, like, I mean, again, when I'm doing these recaps, I really like watching the NHL goal visualizer. It really, you can see both Vilardi and Morrissey take that first step towards Ryan McLeod. And once they take that step towards Ryan McLeod, that's what allows Tuck to get behind everybody. Just that one false step, and Tuck is in the open. And once McLeod's able to get the pass through Morrissey and through Vilardi, it's an easy opportunity for Tuck to make it a 4-2 game at that point in time.
And what's unfortunate, Drew, is the Jets were pressing there on the power play, right? Like, and that's why it's such a backbreaker. And we already talked about it. The Jets, in terms of high danger chances, inner slot shots, we already went over the shot attempts, everything very one-sided. So you're down one goal, you're on the power play, and that Tuck goal happens, which is absolutely a killer. Luckily, we know what happened after that. We'll get into the Ehlers goal, but again, I'll agree with you in one sense about the 3-game Western road trip and then today's game. The Jets' attention to detail, which we always give you a hard time about, has been lacking. And that's the thing. Paul Friesen, right? I'm sure you saw that article in the Winnipeg Sun. He wrote about it. I mean, that's the danger when you're a first-place team. Kind of some bad habits can creep in. And again, we're not ringing the alarm bell here. I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets come up with a much better performance on Tuesday against Washington, because obviously, there's President's Trophy. The President's Trophy is at stake, right? Implications, right? So, I think this was a one-off. I really do. I think they could have easily had 5 or 6 goals in this game, and we could have easily been talking about a win.
No question about it. I mean, again, it was one-sided in the Jets' favor. Just breakdowns at inopportune times. Ehlers comes back 3 minutes later. He makes it a 1-goal game again. His 23rd assist to Logan Stanley and Dylan DeMello. And, sometimes you see these shifts from Nikolai Ehlers where he just decides to take over. And Stanley hits him inside the Jets' blue line with the pass, and he comes down to the right of James Reimer, and he gets over past the blue line, and the speed is pushing back the Sabres defensemen. And because they're worried about getting beat wide by Nikolai Ehlers in this instance. And you just see them backing up. The defenseman for Buffalo in this instance is Owen Power. Instead, as Dan Robertson said on the broadcast, Nikolai unleashes the back scratcher. He 96-mile-an-hour slap shot beats James
Was
Reimer.
It 96? Is that what it was clocked at?
Said 96 miles an hour. It's either 94 or 96.
Well, regardless, even if it was 92, I mean, that's impressive. But
he got it all. He blew it right past. He's what this one was like. This is like a fastball, from a pitcher who throws the fastball. The batter knows a fastball is coming, and the pitcher says, "I'm going to throw it as hard as I can. I don't think you can catch up to it, even if you know that there's a fastball coming right down the heart of the plate."
Sorry, Ruben. I've got my little studio set up here in my dining room of my St. James home. Yes. And I've got the I think they call them French doors. They're closed.
Yes.
But Ruben's screaming at me. I don't know what he's saying, but I'm trying to tell him that I'm doing the show. But he's literally screaming at me. It's probably like
I can take that. I can drive this bus home if you need me to.
No. It's all good. It's just I'm trying to focus on the Nikolai Ehlers goal because I want to talk about it with you here and talk about it with everybody else. But I mean, this is just what else can you say aside from the speed is absolutely blazing and the shot is just it like you can't stop that. I was thinking if you're an NHL goaltender and James Reimer was playing at the Ruben.
Okay, as he's going to talk about his kids for a second there while I continue on with this goal. Just an absolute bullet of a shot by Nikolai Ehlers. No question about it. He just decides, you can see the expression on his face. He's like, I'm pretty sure there was an F word that he dropped after he unleashed the shot, after he beat James Reimer with it. Pulls the Jets to within 1 goal yet again in what has been a very eventful third period. But the Jets, again, despite pulling the goalie, they pull Eric Comrie with 3 minutes to go in the period. They have multiple opportunities. They, in fact, have to put Comrie back in the net because of a face-off, but they get him out of the net again. And then Ryan McLeod with a backhand, I don't even know, it's a perfect draw weight by Ryan McLeod on the backhand to sneak it just inside the post with the backhand from almost probably 190 feet away, something like that, to give the Buffalo Sabres the goal they needed and to send a sold-out audience in downtown Winnipeg home disappointed with a 5-3 Sabres victory over the Winnipeg Jets.
I'm just trying to, I've got my mic muted here. I'm just trying to think, where can I get Ritalin at 5 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, Drew, because Ruben is absolutely bouncing off of the walls right now. I've got to get these kids dinner at some point, but yeah, I mean, we talked about it. Ryan McLeod, 4 points. It was the long lob from the Sabres zone. And look, the Jets, they called the timeout and they had some opportunities. Kyle Connor had the puck and he had a decent scoring chance, right? And you know, this was not to be. This just was not the game, not meant to be for the Jets, even though they threw everything except the kitchen sink at James Reimer. Yeah. And you just have to take your hat off to them. And again, like, if you don't think those Sabres are pumped up in that dressing room right now, or maybe they're out of the dressing room by now, I mean, for them, this is big. They knocked off the top team in the West. So again, we're a Jet-centric show, but you know, sometimes you got to just be happy. You got to be a good loser, as we try to teach our kids, right, Drew?
Yeah, the Manitoba ties are you know, between James Reimer getting the victory, between Kozak getting the goal for the Buffalo Sabres. So the Manitoba connection comes up big for the Sabres. 5-3, 5 goals scored on 17 shots against. The Jets won everything but the scoreboard, and ultimately the scoreboard is all that matters. When we come back on the Illegal Curve post-game show, we'll give you a quick update on what's happening on the out-of-town scoreboard, namely the St. Louis Blues and the Nashville Predators. The Blues need to win, otherwise the Jets can clinch a playoff spot through the non-traditional method later on in the course of today. We'll let you know what's happening there. A little bit more to come. Sunday afternoon, in fact. I don't even know what day of the week it is. It's the Illegal Curve post-game show presented by Play Now.
We want to thank you for not betting with Play Now and choosing our illegal gambling site instead.
Because we couldn't afford things like this without your money.
So much of your money.
Now you might have questions like,
Do our profits benefit your community?
No.
Or bet with Play Now, Manitoba's local legal and secure gambling site.
Dining, entertainment, parking, and convenience, all in one spot. City Place is located in the heart of downtown Winnipeg, attached to the Canada Life Center. Whether you're working, living, or out for a night in the downtown, make City Place your go-to destination before or after the fun finds you. Lunchtime, game time, anytime. Visit City Place at 333 St. Mary Avenue, next to Canada Life Center. Holt Dental, the new official dentist of Illegal Curve, has a philosophy rooted in 2 unyielding principles: genuinely caring about patients and providing outstanding service. Being a patient of Holt Dental means more than just checkups and treatments. It's taking the time to listen and talk to each patient so they can achieve the best long-term health, functionality, and aesthetics for their teeth, mouth, and gums. Conveniently located at Grant Park Festival on Taylor Avenue, Holt Dental is dentistry of the highest quality in a comfortable and relaxed environment. For more information, visit holtdental.ca. Oh, and there's plenty of free parking at the front door, too. Celebrating its 40th year as Winnipeg's home for stand-up comedy, Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club has recently been named Canada's top comedy club and a top 5 comedy club in North America. From birthday parties to date nights to fundraisers and everything in between, Rumors is your destination for the best and most affordable live entertainment Winnipeg has to offer. For more information on upcoming shows, Rumors' incredible promotions, and to purchase tickets, visit rumorscomedyclub.com.
At Boston Pizza, a fast lunch doesn't have to mean fast food. Now you can get a $15 lunch served in just 20 minutes, including your choice of a main, side, and drink. That's right, lunch for $15 at your local Boston Pizza.
20 minutes before the top of the hour, welcome back to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Ezra Ginsburg with you on a Sunday afternoon. The post-game show, of course, brought to you by our friends at Play Now, but also want to give a big thank you and shout out to our friends at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, Holt Dental, Boston Pizza, City Place, and of course, our friends at Seagram's. As promised, a quick look at the out-of-town scoreboard. The Predators, the woeful Nashville Predators, are in St. Louis to face off against the St. Louis Blues. The St. Louis Blues have a 1-0 lead. Jordan Kyrou, his 30th of the season, has given the Blues the 1-0 lead. There's about 4 minutes and change left in the first period. So the Blues, who of course need a clean win over the Predators to keep the Jets from clinching a playoff spot, have done their part so far with a 1-0 lead. Other games just underway, Pittsburgh and Florida, and the Blackhawks beat the Flyers earlier today in a game that only the family members of those two players in those two teams cared about. There's your look at the out-of-town scoreboard. Comment today, Tyson Kozak. This is a post-game quote, courtesy of our buddy Carter Brooks. This, of course, from Souris, Manitoba, scored today for the Buffalo Sabres. Roughly, I'd say there's probably around 150 people waiting for me. It's cool to have them all come out. A couple minor hockey teams from back home came, so it's pretty cool. I haven't played in this building before, so it was a lot of fun. Kind of unreal. I couldn't believe it actually happened. I was able to score in front of a bunch of friends and family, so it's kind of a surreal moment for me. If you remember back to the Jets' first game in Buffalo, Tyson Kozak scored. It was his first NHL goal, but it was disallowed, taken off the board on a Matt Prefontaine special, a video review special. So for him,
and that was his first NHL game.
That's right. First NHL game, almost had his first NHL goal against his home province team. Instead, he gets a goal today in Winnipeg. So, nice.
Matt Prefontaine, the momentum killer.
That's right. For the opposition, the momentum killer.
That's awesome. I mean, I've said this to you so many times, Drew, over the years. And obviously I'm not alone here. I always love when I'm always a big fan of first NHL goals. Like, I don't care what team it is. I don't care what position you play. I love when guys score their first NHL goals. Never gets old. And I love when guys score in their home province, right? So we've seen guys come in here from Manitoba and score before, right? Obviously, Ryan Reeves famously in the 2018 playoffs. That one comes to mind. But that's awesome with Tyson Kozak having so much of his family in the building, and great for him. As Ruben currently skis down my stairs in my house.
I'll let you go deal with that then. The second half of the Kentucky-Illinois game is about to get started, so I'm going to go watch that. Go Big Blue. We'll be back on Tuesday night after the Jets and the Washington Capitals for another edition of the Illegal Curve post-game show. Looking forward to that one. That should be a doozy and a dandy in downtown Winnipeg. If you haven't already done so, folks, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast, and of course, turn your notifications on and get alerted each and every time we go live here on the Illegal Curve YouTube channel. Big thanks to all of the sponsors of the show. Big thanks to all of you for joining us this afternoon and again yesterday on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. Like I said, we'll be back on Tuesday night. For Ezra Ginsburg, I am your host, Drew Mandel. Until Tuesday at around 9:45 p.m., we wish you good evening and good luck. And thanks for watching the Illegal Curve post-game show.
Thanks for listening to this broadcast from Illegal Curve Hockey. For more great Illegal Curve content, subscribe to the Illegal Curve YouTube channel Follow at Illegal Curve on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and visit your online home for hockey in Winnipeg, illegalcurve.com.